Welcome to the Weather Guru podcast for June 30th, 2024. We're currently streaming, talking about Hurricane Beryl here. It's now a major hurricane, as you can see, Category 4 with winds in excess of 130 miles an hour with higher gusts. Has a well-formed eye here. We're going to be talking about the path, the current impacts to the Windward Islands, as well as where it goes from here after Monday and Tuesday happens in the time frame. Thank you for joining me. This is the Hurricane Beryl update as of 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The next advisory comes out, of course, at 5 p.m., the full advisory. We're just going to talk about the intermediate advisory at 2 p.m. by the National Hurricane Center. Now, you're looking at the structure of this system here. You can see a well-defined eye, very circular, deep, cold core top surrounding that eye wall there in that northeast quadrant there. And that's exactly what you want to see in a major hurricane like this here. It's going to continue to strengthen for the next 12 hours. The winds could get up as high as 140, 145 before things top out and you get that stadium effect. And also with this fast movement with it, you can see it's very symmetrical in all quadrants here. Very good inflow with outflow fanning out, high cirrus clouds fanning out all around the storm. And very impressive system. So this is the advisory as of 2 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. It's about 310 miles east-southeast of Barbados, 405 miles east-southeast of St. Vincent. So this is going to be the area that we're concentrating on, Barbados, St. Vincent, and Grenada. We got life-threatening winds and storm surge expected early Monday morning. Once again, those islands have been in the thick of things, as well as St. Lucia and Tobago. But the main islands that are going to be affected from more of the hurricane force winds are going to be the Barbados, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Okay, so if you have friends and interests down there, you want to definitely make sure they're making preparations today. This is the last day to make preparations before things go quickly downhill tonight, late tonight, midnight tonight, and into tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning. Now, the hurricane force winds, they have increased. Remember, this morning they were only 15 miles extended out. Those winds exceeding 110 miles an hour or greater are now extended out up to 30 miles now. I told you that the wind field will expand, and it has done so. Tropical storm force winds extend out 115 miles from the center. Minimum central pressure still falling at 960 millibars. So we have a major Category 4 hurricane here with Beryl. And I told you that the wind field will expand as it got closer to these islands. And this is what we have. So it's looking more and more as we go to the map here. I'm going to go to the graphic here. You can see that it's looking more and more that possibly St. Vincent and the Grenadines, some of the lower islands of the Grenadines and Grenada will take a direct hit from this system as it approaches, with 30 miles worth of hurricane winds on either side of the eye and 100 miles of tropical storm force winds here. So you can see the wind field here. You can see the direct path is continuing. Now this path here does shift slightly to the south here. This cone of the center. Now we know that impacts can be felt outside of the cone, but we're looking at the center, and you notice that it's shifted southward as compared to the 8 a.m. advisory and the other advisory. This advisory is continuing to shift south and westward. This puts more of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, more of Jamaica into play. Later on down in the forecast period. Now, in the immediate short term, like I said, if you have interest in Tobago, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Barbados, this will be the main impact zone. St. Lucia will be on the northern end of the eye wall action, so it depends on how close. But everybody in this area is going to get tropical storm force winds, 100% guaranteed. But the main core of this system is going to pass between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada, as it shows on this map here. And so all interests should be prepared for this. So we're taking necessarily precautions in this type of effect now. But they've also included Trinidad in a tropical storm tropical storm watch for Trinidad, the island of Trinidad, from Port of Spain up to Arima and San Fernando. So listen, guys, if you're in Trinidad, you are going to experience tropical storm rain from this system. As I show in this map, you can see it's expanded. The wind field expanded. It's getting bigger. The system's getting bigger, stronger. And on that southern end, there's still a lot of convection and showers, and you can get gusty winds. So you can't expect in Trinidad to have tropical storm force winds, possibly gusts, nearing hurricane strength, but going to gusts between, let's say, 50 and 60 miles an hour gusts. Tropical storm sustained winds around 40, stuff like that. Tobago, you will get a little bit more of the brunt because you would be in that forward zone there, but you'll be more on the western side of the storm and not the northeastern side of the storm, like St. Vincent and the Grenadines and St. Lucia will be. So Barbados is also in for a big hit too as well. If the hurricane winds continue to expand before in the morning, Barbados will be sure enough to get hurricane force winds above 70 miles an hour easily, with gusts well over 120. So Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada. These three islands need to prepare for hurricane force conditions to be arriving sometime early after midnight, as soon as probably about 2 a.m. Monday morning. And this is depicted on the map right here, as you can see here. That's depicted on the map here that the National Hurricane Center has drawn. So there's a lot of interesting caveats with this system. This is one of the earliest systems that we've had here that has become a hurricane. As you know, the news has been touting this. This is one article here, and Beryl is breaking records. This is the third earliest major storm since Alma and Audrey back in the 50s and 60s that we've had a major hurricane. This is the earliest Cat 4 on record since Dennis back in 2005. And this is the strongest June storm since Audrey back in 1957 with winds of 125 miles an hour. This almost effectively beats it by 10 or 15 miles an hour. Sustained winds in Hurricane Beryl right now around 130 miles an hour with higher gusts. So Beryl has become the first Atlantic hurricane of the season, and it undergoes rapid intensification that I spoke about earlier. And you can see here the Atlantic-wide map here by the Gold 16 satellite. There's Beryl right there with great outflow, and right here, there is a storm behind it too that the National Hurricane says no, that's going to become the next C-name storm, but it won't be named until probably about Tuesday or Wednesday when we're going to get that out the way. It's probably going to be a depression by late Monday afternoon. Then it'll get away from the invest name, and there's a depression, and then of course the subsequent nomenclature of Tropical Storm C. Whatever the C name is, I forgot right now. I think it's Chris, but I have to look at it again. Now there's some showers in front of Beryl. And what's stirring Beryl is this subtropical wind, this big high pressure here that everybody's waiting to weaken on, supposed to weaken on Tuesday or so. And if it does weaken, that'll allow Beryl to further track northward. But if it doesn't weaken, it's going to continue westward through the Caribbean here. And all this water here is very warm, 29 degrees Celsius, 30 degrees Celsius as usual. And there's not much wind shear right now. Now, later on in the forecast period, that may change. The wind shear may increase or decrease depending on what frontal boundaries are setting up across the eastern or Midwest, upper Midwest of the United States and come swinging in. A lot of factors could come into play. Remember, the atmosphere is dynamic, ladies and gentlemen. It's not static. So every time the computer runs models, different things can be happening, within the system as well. And different things may be happening internally with Beryl here. As you can see, now, if you look at the motion, it stopped that wobbly motion. Now it's moving west of due north of west. You can see here it's come up a little bit in latitude. It was down here facing Trinidad. The eye was level. Now it's coming up more towards Tobago. The latitude of the eye is coming up north, more due west of north toward Tobago Island and Grenada. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Barbados look like they would be on the north side of this eye and eye wall here, but still be affected because hurricane force winds extend out 30 miles from the center now. Tropical storm force winds extend over 100 miles from the center. So either way you're looking at it, you're going to feel effects. Now, the main effects for these islands right now, as the system bears down, look for conditions to deteriorate from east to west, okay? And that means that for islands like Barbados, and islands like islands like Grenada, Barbados, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you can expect winds starting out, tropical storm force, 39 miles an hour. Then it's going to get sustained 50, 60. Gusts are going to be reaching 90 to 120 miles an hour. And then finally, the worst of it is going to come from, let's say, about 10 a.m. Monday through 6 p.m. Monday tomorrow. And that's when Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada are going to be experiencing hurricane force winds sustained above 85 with gusts to 135 during that time frame, along with the 6 to 9 foot storm surge increasing in some areas to 10 feet, above 10 feet in some areas of storm surge. Heavy rain. Remember, these islands are mountainous here. Besides, with the exception of Tobago, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, and Barbados all have mountains and have hills. St. Lucia too, and with the pitons and all of that. So that's going to cause a lot of rainfall and a lot of mudslides and landslides to happen as well. So be very careful. Tell your friends and family to prepare for that, to alert for that as best they can, as we're almost only basically about 12 hours out from impact here. Some impacts being felt here. Okay, so the winds will come out of the northeast at first, and then as the system passes by, they'll switch over to the southwest, a strong southwest breeze, hurricane force sustained, and all of that's going to come in, the storm surge and all of that stuff is going to come out as it passes through the Windward Islands here. So now, this is what we have going on here. Now, this timeline has been pretty consistent today, as you notice. Even with the system, the movement has been very consistent. There was some talk about it slowing down. That does not look to be the case until at least late Tuesday here as it approaches possibly Jamaica or Cayman Islands in late Tuesday into Wednesday. Right now, the movement is sustained at west at 21 miles an hour, which is very fast and very odd for a really strong major hurricane like this to really be booking it really fast and keeping this type of presentation, this type of organization. Now, would there be fluctuation in intensity? Of course, guys. Anytime you get a hurricane over Category 3, a mature hurricane, you're going to have fluctuations in intensity as we get through these eye wall replacement cycles, right? And also as we, the storm encounters either sheer dry air or Saharan dust. Now, there is some Saharan dust over here on this storm here by Texas here, this invest area here that's going into Texas, and that's one of the limiting factors of why this storm in the Bay of Campeche, this invest 90 something, is not going to develop according to the National Hurricane Center, and it's going to be just going inland into Mexico. But the system there could be some Saharan dry air toward the mouth of the Yucatan Peninsula, but this is a couple of days out, so you're talking about Thursday when it can be affected here. And also around this Wednesday, Thursday time frame is when they expect another subtropical ridge up here, a high pressure, to either break down or yield, leaving the path for either Beryl to go north up into the Gulf of Mexico or continue west. It just depends on how strong that secondary ridge is once it gets past this Bermuda Azores high, this ridge up top here that's staring it right now. So that's what we have going on, ladies and gentlemen. But either way, we're looking at a system here with major impacts to the Windward Islands, major impacts to the Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Tobago, and Barbados. So you're going to see increasing swells here. Now, one thing to notice here too is you notice how the eye is clear right now. It's almost a stadium effect. So the storm could be reaching maximum intensity right now, at least in this stage. Okay, whenever you can see down to the ocean floor like that, there's no central dense overcast clouding the eye. The eye doesn't appear to be ragged. It's almost a perfectly center oval like that. Now, there are some convective storms that are forming on the northwest. Still, that northwest side there, the inflow does look a little bit ragged. It does look like it's ingesting a little bit of that shear up to the north, but the shear is so far north that it's not light shear. You're talking 5-10 knots of shear up in the higher atmospheres. Remember, the storm has to be vertically stacked and moving along at a medium pace to be able to intensify at this level. We have in its favor the warm sea surface temperatures, obviously. We have low shear environment, so that's why it's strengthening to this rapid intensification where you get 30 knot winds increase in 24 hours, 30 knot and pressure drops, 10, 12, 15 millibars an hour or something like that. Right now, this is what we have. So once again, and also I should note too on this advisory here, before the 5 p.m. advisory comes out, notice in blue here, some of the islands north of St. Lucia are also included in a tropical storm warning. So just because you're not in the cone, you are going to experience tropical storm winds here. And that's about, you may get something, sustained 30, 40 mile an hour winds, but you must understand, in some of these islands, the way they are, the slope and the mountainous areas and hills, that still can cause damages because the winds are accelerated faster the higher you go up in elevation. So if you're in Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Kitts and Nevis, some of these islands in the northern Windward Islands chains here, you want to be on the lookout. Now, as we get into Tuesday, Puerto Rico, you should be fine with this system. The tropical storm force winds right now don't extend out that far. They would have to extend out about 250 miles to reach you in Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic and Haiti as it passes by. Now, however, things could change. Right now, the path is shifted southward. That's good news, and westward for a lot of the islands up here, the top islands up here, as well as Jamaica. But Jamaica, you're still in the crosshairs because you would be, as the storm passes, you'll be on that southeasterly side and on that eastern side, and that can pose problems for you later on Wednesday and Thursday, as it will still be a major hurricane during that time frame. Now, they are anticipating some weakening here between Wednesday and Thursday, and like I said, that's all to do with that ridge breaking down and also increasing shear that's going to be coming across this basin, across the Caribbean basin, either from the southwest or shear from up north, from the northwest, coming in like that. So that's why the Hurricane Center has weakened it to a hurricane, but still a hurricane, mind you, through the end of this week. Now, this is the uncertain period from Wednesday to Friday. Remember, we only have certainty for about 2-3 days with the models, and then after that, things get, kind of sketchy, So that's what we have going on here. And you can see here, we have 3 systems here. And there's also, now there's some scattered showers here associated with nothing, but nothing is, in front of Beryl. I don't know how much that's going to destabilize the atmosphere or weaken the atmosphere to have Beryl, but it's possible that it could. But there's some showers here in front of it, as you can see, maybe about a couple hundred miles west of the Windward Islands, but nothing really is going to slow it down substantially right now, as we can see. Now, we had this frontal boundary across the U.S. here that brought showers to the mid-Atlantic and upwards, and that may influence Beryl as well, depending on if this thing stalls out or if another boundary replaces it. That also can have an impact on Beryl, as you can see. But right now, as you can see, this thing is very healthy. It's a category 4. It will continue to strengthen sometime a little bit more today. As we lose the daytime heating, we get the 5 p.m. advisory. I expect it to increase more, so it should be around 140 miles an hour. And then the 8 p.m. advisory, it should just level off because it's getting dark and it doesn't have that sunlight fuel on the visible satellite. But let's just look at the projections here by the Hurricane Center here at the 2 p.m. advisory. You can see they projected, yeah, they do project it to go to 140 miles an hour. So that's exactly what I thought, exactly right. So it'll be a 140 mile an hour storm passing through the Windward Islands here. And I just showed you here. You can see it very well defined. It's not going to lose any strength and not going to lose any sleep. Hurricane Beryl is for real. And as long as you take the proper precautions, you should be fine in those islands. You know, your loved ones should be fine. But it is going to be a rough early morning and afternoon because these are powerful winds and they're going to bring down trees and bring down power lines and cause damages, especially for Barbados, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, and Grenada. Those 3 islands, the Triangle. Tobago, it should be okay. It's less populated, and they're on the southern end. They will be on the southern end as this eye wall comes through, and so they'll just miss it probably as the hurricane force winds only extend out 30 miles from the eye. So that really, the 130 mile an hour winds only extend out 30 miles from the eye. So remember that. It's very hard to get a direct hit on these islands, but it's going to be darn close for Barbados and for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'm very concerned, as well as St. Lucia. All 3 of them could be in the mix for hurricane force winds for at least 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours on Monday, until the system pulls away. So just something to keep in mind. And once again, because of the angle of the way this storm is coming into these Windward Islands, we're looking at storm surge anywhere on the order of 6 to 10 feet. We're looking at flooding rains, mudslides, landslides in the mountainous areas of the St. Lucia, Barbados, and the mountainous areas of these Grenadines. Now, if it affects some of the lesser islands of the Grenadines and not like St. Vincent directly, that might be a blessing in disguise, but it'll be very awfully close because the wind field is still expanding. As a matter of fact, on the 5 p.m. advisory, I expect the Hurricane Center to also look at that too once they get the plane data back. They're going to tell you that this wind field is expanding here. You can see right now we're up to 30 miles of hurricane force winds, whereas the earlier advisory in 8 a.m. we were only at 15 miles, and this tropical storm force winds is almost doubled. It went from like 60 miles, 70 miles out. Now it's 115 miles out of tropical storm force winds. And also with this type of system, the instability increases. It can also throw off what we call tornadic water spouts. Sometimes these major hurricanes throw off tornadic spouts that may, they come in and they come and do a quick spurt on land on some of these small islands too, on some of the mountainous areas of these hilly areas of these things. This particularly too on the north and eastern side. So this part right here, as it comes across that right front quadrant, comes into St. Lucia. I'm especially looking out for that for St. Lucia. So St. Lucia, you may see more of these like tornadic water spouts that may come on land for a short time and do damage and go off. That's one thing. And heavy lightning for Barbados and St. Lucia especially. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you're looking at more like almost a direct hit right now. But we have to find out more as it gets closer because the eye is wobbling right now. The path is wobbling right now as it makes its initial approach into the Windward Islands. And it's still about 200, 300 miles away. Like I said, it's still 310 miles southeast southeast of the Barbados, and about 400 miles southeast of the St. Vincent and Grenadines. But those 3 islands that's what they're going to experience to take the brunt of this system as it comes across there. So and we're not counting wave heights or anything like that. Wave heights are going to be at least 10 to 15 feet, with some higher crest topping 20 feet out here in the open seas, as you know. And out here, definitely, there's 40 to 50 foot seas easily out here in the open seas where this storm is at. That's a no-brainer. But for those boating interests, you don't want to be doing that anywhere near as the swells are already coming in, now as we speak. So in the meantime, though, this is what we have going on with this tropical system. If you have any questions or concerns, please leave them in the comments. This is a very fluid situation. It's a category 4. Could it become a category 5? I don't think so. Not by the time it reaches the Windward Islands. Now, once it gets in the Caribbean, and here it's anybody's guess. It's possible right between Monday and Tuesday this thing could hit a Cat 5 status, because if the wind shear remains low and if the water temperatures are high and if there's no interaction with land from Monday to Tuesday, late Tuesday, then it's possible it could become a Cat 5. Nothing's out of the question. But I think that there's going to be some type of reorganization with this system late Tuesday and the Wednesday morning just south of Jamaica, either an eye wall replacement cycle or something like that. And usually these systems, guys, usually they don't stay at Cat 5 level for that long. Usually it's usually a day or two or not. It's hard to hold that intensity all the way through the Caribbean basin and into the Gulf of Mexico. So just something to keep in mind. But, that is possible. Now, I noticed something on this last frame. You notice that I'm going to rewind the frame for you and just show how Beryl has been progressing its way here. You can see it was a tight, rotation, tight spin there, great inflow, outflow there, high cirrus clouds still fanning out. But you notice that most of the convection, the deep convection is on that northeast quadrant side there with the coldest cloud tops. And some of the southern cloud tops have been kind of fuzzy and warming up a bit. So the system may be trying to reorganize a little bit, get more concise here. Even though it's a major hurricane, it may be going through already a reorganization period, not so much eye wall replacement cycle, but just a restructural, organization, maybe affected by some of the winds that are coming here out of the what do you call it? I'm sorry, coming out of the southwest there, so it's not necessarily shear, but the system internal dynamics is being affected just a little bit, and I think that's also inhibiting some of the strength of the system here. It could be even higher. Now you see right here also, as I move the frame through, you can see on the convection is ingesting a little bit of dry air too on the the northwest side. The northwest side, you can see holes or gaps here in some of the feeder bands, and that is taking its toll on the system. But however, it's still going to be a major hurricane, and that's going to continue to make its effect. Now, once again, if you're in those 4 islands, Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada, Tobago will get effects, but not as bad. And Trinidad will have tropical storm force winds, but nothing crazy. Just briefly a strong breeze, 30 to 40 miles an hour with some gusts. So you can see here, I'm looking at the wind field here. You can see the tropical storm force winds extend out 115 miles. There it is. So you're looking at about maybe another 9-10 hours before it starts reaching Tobago, Barbados, and then another 12 hours early in the morning, say 4 or 5 a.m. It'll be right on top of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada here, and St. Lucia, and that's when the real storm begins. That worst of it is going to be between those locations, and the worst of it is going to be right here at 8 a.m. between 8 a.m. Monday all the way through about 4 p.m. Monday. So it'll be over with Monday afternoon. Not over with, but I mean, it'll be moving on by 8 p.m. Monday. It is far away from the islands, but still providing a lot of rain on the east side and a lot of gusty winds. But things will be rapidly improving by late Monday night. By midnight, it's over. And then it's just a matter of assessing the damage in those areas in Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Barbados. And so it's important to prepare, have flashlights, candles, solar powered generator if you got one, or solar powered supplies in those areas, because this kind of winds that are coming through are going to cause some roof damage, trees down, landslides, mudslides, flooding, and also storm surge flooding on those areas that are near the coast or in the lower elevation areas that are not in the mountainous areas of these particular islands. So I just want to show you that. Now, I also want to show you these are the key messages, of course. We know that it is Category 4. It's a dangerous situation. Everybody's preparing. Like I said, the Windward Islands had the highest risk of the core. There we go. Same thing we've been talking about here. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, St. Lucia, Barbados, early Monday morning. The good news is that this system is moving fast. It's still moving west at 21 miles an hour. I wonder how long that's going to handle. Is that going to keep? Right now, they have it moving booking, because from 8 p.m. Monday to 8 p.m. Tuesday, it's covering at least 100 miles or 60, 70 miles easily. So this thing is really moving very fast, and it continues that fastward motion through about Wednesday, and that's when things, all bets are off as to whether or not that subtropical ridge will hold on or disintegrate or cause it to go further north, or continue on this southerly path towards Central America and Belize and Mexico, somewhere around there. So that's what we have going on here with the system. The next update is coming at 5 p.m. I'll probably skip that one and come on again at 8 p.m. 5 p.m. is the next full advisory, but I may skip that one and come on the next intermediate advisory, because it's going to be pretty much the same thing. It may get a little stronger. Like I said, the 140 mile an hour, 150 mile an hour system here, but still be a strong Cat 4, maybe even possibly, getting up to a Cat 5 before it starts going through the Windward Islands. But I think with the next advisory, here's what to look forward to, ladies and gentlemen. On the next 5 p.m. advisory, we're going to see whether or not this track continues to shift southward down towards here, or will they shift the track more over Jamaica and Cayman Islands northward, depending on how they feel, and this ridge will break down the two ridges over America and over the Bermuda High over here, how that will break down and interact. That's the thing that most people are looking for with this track. And also, we're going to see if we get any reports out of what's going to be reports what are the preparations being made for the Windward Islands down here. So that's what I look forward to seeing. And also the speed, I want to see how the speed is going to be adjusted here for the system coming up tonight. Is it going to slow down, or is it going to continue to move this westward at 21 miles an hour, which is very fast for a major hurricane? And so we just have to wait and see how things played out during this time. I know Hurricane Andrew was a fast moving system like this too before it slowed down right over the Bahamas and Bimini, and then it just gathered strength and came back in. This one is moving on a totally different track. Obviously, it's not coming up like that. It's coming more in the Caribbean basin. So we'll see how it goes and how the steering currents hold up during this week. That's the main question for most people here in the lower 48 United States. And not only that, but also in the Caribbean and Central America, is how fast will the system move? Will it still be a major hurricane? Will there be some Saharan air getting into it, or dry air? Will there be, all that is questions that we're going to be answering probably after Monday and Tuesday. So everybody's waiting for it to get through the Windward Islands. Unfortunately, hope it doesn't cause too much damage. We pray it doesn't, and we pray that the hurricane force winds field stays pretty small, confined to about 50 to 40 miles zone. Right now, it's increasing to 30 miles of hurricane winds, force winds zone on either side of the eye, but that's going to continue to expand. As a matter of fact, that's what I expect too. I meant to tell you, at the 5 p.m. advisory, the hurricane force winds are going to expand probably another maybe 10 miles to about 40 miles out from the center, and then tropical storm force winds are going to continue to expand closer to 200 miles out from the center as the system looks to be getting bigger, and not so much that buzzsaw symmetrical look we saw earlier in the morning. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, guys, thank you for listening to the Weather Gurus podcast today. Please be sure to subscribe, and I thank you for your support. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll answer them later. Thank you very much.